Good morning, 7th grade. Welcome to your first online class. This is how it's going to be. I'll be loading up videos, talking to you guys, giving you updates, seeing what's going on. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them through the first video here. So if you have any questions about what we're learning, please make sure you send me a message so I can answer it while I am recording. I know this is kind of weird. I don't like recording myself. You're probably all laughing right now, but we still got to do our work, all right? So today what we're going to learn about is we're going to learn about the church and how it was affected by the art. Last time we talked about how the universities were built by the church and how the churches were building these universities so people can find out what was going on at these monasteries. What about law, medicine, and science? People wanted to find out these things, and the only way they can learn was going to school. Just like how you guys are. You guys are going to school right now to learn about these things. You guys are curious about stuff. You ask your teachers. They try to clarify it for you, or if you're just curious, you go online and look it up. So same thing back in the day, they had to go and build universities for all the kids or all the people that wanted to learn about religion, about medicine, about science. They can go and study at these universities. And because of all this, as people start to learn more and more and educate themselves, they start to develop new ideas, and these new ideas start to shape the modern world of what we see to this day. So remember, a lot of stuff that was happening back then still affects us to this day. So today we're going to talk about the church and the art. So in addition to the politics and education, the church was also a strong influence on the art and architecture in the medieval ages. So throughout the Middle Ages, religious feelings started to inspire the artists, the architects. Just like we learned last time, religion had a huge effect on the artworks. Just like we learned before, remember a lot of the religious paintings, the buildings, it all resembled religion. Rather in Japan, it was all resembled about love, nature, and stuff like that, okay? So many of Europe's churches were incredible works of art. These things are huge, these cathedrals. The grandest of these churches were called cathedrals. These were large churches and where bishops led religious services. We have a cathedral here in LA, and we know that cathedral is really nice. It is huge, just like these other ones. So beginning in the 1100s, the Europeans built their cathedrals, and they used a style called Gothic style architecture. You can think of Gothic style as in like the gargoyles and the cartoons. They have that Gothic style, so it's kind of scary looking, but at the same time, this is just the way architecture was used. So these Gothic cathedrals were not just places to pray, but they also were symbols of people's faith. So a lot of these people came, they saw these works, they're beautiful. And remember, back then they wanted to make these things beautiful because they wanted to show their wealth, they wanted to show glory to God, and they just wanted these things, works of art, so people can come and visit. So what made these Gothic church so unusual? For one thing, they're much taller than all the other churches. The walls often went up hundreds and hundreds of feet. The ceiling seems to like they reached the heavens. They had huge windows with stained glass on the inside, so when the sun went in, it just looks beautiful from the inside out. So many of these churches, they still exist. You can still go, and you can still worship, go to a service there, or you can just go and tour them inside. So this picture right here, this cathedral, this is actually the Duomo. This is one in Italy. This is the one in Milan. I think I told you guys about this cathedral before. This is one of the biggest ones in Milan, and you can see, if you zoom into the picture, how beautiful all the architecture is. Okay? This is another picture of a cathedral. This one is located in Germany, and as you can see how huge these cathedrals are. And these cathedrals were built in the Middle Ages, and they're still standing to this day, which is kind of crazy. But you see how huge they are in comparison to the houses around them. And you notice how they kind of look a little spooky. But from the inside out, they're beautiful. This is the cathedral, and also another one in Germany. This is one in Cologne. I think I told you guys a story about this cathedral. This is the one that when I went to, they were telling me to kick a soccer ball. Well, this is the one where I kicked the soccer ball and hit the other guy in the butt. This is the cathedral that I was standing outside of. This one's huge, and you can see it. Just look at the top, how it has that huge cross on top, the huge towers. And if you zoom into the picture on the right, you can see all the details that they have carved out of this marble stone. And you have to remember, this is all before tools. This is everything. So this is artwork, and these are cathedrals. So the outside looks spooky, but when you get on the inside, is very beautiful, which you'll see in the next one. This next cathedral, this you guys are probably familiar with it. This is the Notre Dame. This one's in Paris. This is the one that was on fire last year when it burned down, or part of it burned down except for the cross and everything like that. So if you look to the right picture, that's the stained glass window. That's called the rose window in this one, and that window didn't get damaged during the fire, which is really cool. But if you look on the picture on the right, that is a Notre Dame, and if you look in the middle, that circle thing, that's what it looks like on the outside. But when you're on the inside of the cathedral, that's what the window looks like. So the window is beautiful. It has all kinds of colors, and it's meant for that. So when you're on the inside, it looks completely different. This is all art, and this was part of the cathedrals, and they're using these for people to come in to check them out. And remember, they wanted people to travel around and see these cathedrals. This is one of the most famous ones, the Notre Dame in Paris. So like I was saying, this is another window in the Notre Dame. So these medieval churches, they were also filled with beautiful objects to create and show respect for God. So paintings, tapestries were on the wall, these high ceilings. Even the priests wore these beautiful robes during religious ceremonies. Some of them even had like gold weaved into their robes that they had. Many of the books during these religious ceremonies were also beautiful. So monks had to copy these books carefully. And sometimes what they would do is they would decorate the Bible. They would put gold on the pages to show the beauty. And what was cool is that when they put these bright colors like the gold or the silver threads in the books, when you would open them, they would shine. So it was just like almost like jewelry, but this was their style of art, and the religion affected a lot of their artwork. So overall, the churches, even though it was mainly about church, but church had a huge impact on the arts. Like we've learned before, the church it inspired the artwork and inspired things for it to be beautiful. They wanted to make huge, huge, huge churches so they can be places where people can come and travel, they can see them. A lot of these cathedrals are still standing to this day, and they're used for people to just go and see, just like they were back in the day. For homework, what I want you guys to do is, how are these medieval art and religion related? How is art and religion related? You guys are very familiar with that answer. And number 2, what new style of religious architecture developed in Europe in the 1100s? Think about that scary type of feel that I talked about with the gargoyles. It has a name for it. If you don't remember, just look back in the slides. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I can go ahead and answer your questions tomorrow. Okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye.